Ah, tiempo por otra. Coachlife. We had a great conversation yesterday about magic and basketball and whether basketball was magic. We had another conversation about the state of black people and what we should and should not allow. February will be Black History Month. Martin Luther King Day is coming up Monday, January the 16th. We will inevitably come back to the sad truth of America and its reckoning. For those that don't know, I'm black. I'm 15% Irish, something. Nigerian, Ghanaian, good portion of my DNA is from the Congo. And obviously, I'm American by default. I say that because we're in a moment where the truth coming to light, it's not easy. For a lot of people, it's painful. So what that does is it makes you feel like you're depressed or confused or worse, apathetic, in a state of malaise. You don't care. That's a natural reaction to not having knowledge of self. Now, I'm going to use a metaphor. I'm already 2 minutes in, so how is that even possible? I'm going to use a metaphor to describe what I'm talking about and then hopefully tell a little story. Energy is real. Hopefully we can all agree. I said that many years ago, decades ago. Energy is real, energy is real. People have been saying it for a long time, but it seems foo-foo. The example I used in Wings was if someone sees a fight around the corner, or if they're at the corner, but they see it down the street. So you can't see it, you can just see them. You can see their reaction. And there are certain actions that people do, body language, where you can sense something bigger is at play. This is not just a normal moment. This is a bigger moment. That's gravity. That's gravitas. That's energy. You can see it. You can sense it. You might not even see it. You can just feel a stillness. So the metaphor I was going to use is if you're on the train and there's one person holding up the whole train, can I avoid the situation if I'm on the train just because I'm me and I'm not that? No, I'm stuck on the train. We're all stuck. And that's kind of the state we're in emotionally, but more important, spiritually in America, specifically with regards to black people. When I say black people, I don't mean people who just are of a darker complexion. I mean people who culturally align with blackness, not just American, not just Caribbean, not just Brazilian, not just Mexican blackness, but blackness, meaning those who are in proximity to the sun to the extent where they are melanated. These things, it seems so simple, and we've been taught, it's been perverted in our minds. We don't even know the true power of this darker complexion. We definitely don't know the privilege of it. I'm here to help. I'm here to say that energy is real. What has been done to us historically, we've carried it. When you talk about soul food or soul music, who are you talking about? When you say culture, what do you mean? So we've learned to stand up in that, and we've also learned to internalize a self-hatred where hundreds of us kill each other it's not hundreds every day, I hope, but it's a high number simply because we have self-hate. So you look like me, pow. Oh, you looked at me wrong, pow. I don't see you as a brother, a cousin, a kin. I don't know that you have grandparents, kids. You are a quote unquote op. Many cultures play with this now, but who do you think really has to deal with the consequences of it? This pop culture, the rap music. Yeah, I know where it came from. It wasn't making ops. That's when the business got into it. That's a long way of saying everyone who's not black assumed that they could allow that narrative to play out and not necessarily be affected. But guess what? Guess what the pandemic reminded us? We are all connected. We're all on the train. Can't be neutral on the moving ship. Now, if you want to blame black people, I'd suggest you do your research. We are nomads in this land. We are migrants. We don't have our mother language for the most part. Some of us have retained it. I'm speaking to you in English. I'm speaking English because those who colonized America also began in England, hence English. If you're speaking Spanish, that's because those who colonized your land, or you're from Spain. French, same thing. So the way that language spread in that era was mostly through war and trade and socialization. But what we're dealing with today is called acculturation. Boy, that took a turn. Coachlife. I just want to hopefully give you an understanding of the time that we're in right now. 2023, January. Nobody was pumped for New Year's. I mean, some people were drunk in the streets and stuff like that, but collectively, it was not a traditional New Year's. Why do you think that is? The truth is coming to light. I told you to look up the Congo and cobalt. Let me give you a little history. King Leopold, Belgium, he laid claim to the Congo, which is huge. It's like 75 or maybe 750 times as large as Belgium. Long story short, there was millions of Congolese people there, and he killed millions and maimed millions. Do you know what for? Rubber. This was around the time that the automobile was becoming a thing, but they had wooden wheels, and those wooden wheels weren't necessarily the move. They would break down, took a lot to maintain. And then they learned the process of vulcanizing rubber. Vulcanizing is a alchemical process. You might look at some of your sneakers and say, oh, these are vulcanized. It might give you the product description and say vulcanized. Well, that vulcanized rubber largely came from the Congo, and King Leopold came up with heinous measures to produce the quantity of rubber that was necessary to maintain what would become the automobile industry, and then the bicycle industry and the sneaker industry. Rubber comes from a rubber plant, rubber tree. It's a long process of scoring it. The sap makes rubber, but it has to be vulcanized. Even that was a long alchemical process that the people had to master. And so the Congo, that happened, that was greenlit by, oh yeah, by the way, when they had the Berlin Conference to decide whether King Leopold could lay claim to the entire Congo, which was just discovered by white folks. There's a great book, The White Nile and the Blue Nile, which details what Stanley had to do to, he was an explorer, and he was a cartographer, and he was charting the land for then, I don't know if he knew, but for then King Leopold's conquest. All of that had to be, first of all, people had to greenlight Stanley, because at every turn he was under threat of being killed. Because could you imagine a white man in the heart of Africa at the time? King Leopold has this, they have this Congress in Berlin, all the colonizers, French, and how do we divide Africa as if it's not already someone else's? How do we cut it up? King Leopold said, yo, I'll take Congo. He disguised it as a humanitarian mission. People bought it, but guess who co-signed it? Guess what international entity gave the green light, the first green light, which gave everybody else the will to green light it? Guess who? Guess who? United States of America. Led to millions being killed and maimed. No mention of it in our history books. Today, fast forward, let's just say, okay, damn, that's tragic. Millions. Fast forward to today, every single smart device we use contains cobalt. Congo has 3/4 of the world's cobalt. These are supposed to be industrial mining situations. A journalist, I forget his name, forgive me, I will research it and plug it into the comment section. He went to the Congo a few years ago, and by a few I mean like 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5, and actually investigated these industrial mining. Now, mind you, this is supposed to be, there's not supposed to be a single artisanal miner, meaning a single person. Tink, tink, tink. Look it up, or maybe I'll attach the video. The entire mining's, this is one of the most heinous, nasty slave labor, child slave labor scenarios in the history of humanity. It's happening right now in the Congo for our smart devices, for our scooters, for our electric cars. So why wasn't everyone pumped for New Year's? We have a lot of energy that's conflicted, a lot of truth that needs to come to light, that is coming to light. One thing you can't stop is the truth. You can hide it for as long as you want, but guess what? Nature wins out, and truth is natural. Truth is organic. So I don't want to get you down. I want you to understand something. If you know who you are and you're doing the best that you can, when you have new information and you processing it, guess what? That's an investment that you're getting return on. Watch the last video, investments. If you don't process that information and it doesn't turn into action or an adjustment, be patient with yourself. But if it doesn't turn into something, then that is a wasted investment. So I just told you what's happening in the Congo. I just told you why the energy is so strange. I just told you truth coming to light. We're all connected. What do you do with it? What am I doing with it? I'm telling you, I did the research. I could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours about the things that we are letting slide. And guess what? It's our job, because it's our lives and we're all connected. Now, the story I wanted to tell is a Muji story, but maybe I'll save it for the next Coach Life, because this is, oh my goodness, 14 minutes. I'm sorry. The title of this Coach Life, return. At some point, we have to all do better. Our history, at least in America, is told with such a slant that we can't feel at home in it. We don't all feel like, oh yeah, we're all from Africa, let's move from there. Well, what is the history of Africa? We start here with slavery in America. What? Are you kidding? Look up indigo. Do you understand the master craftsmen who made indigo were kidnapped and brought to Haiti to make indigo, which was at the time the most valuable commodity in the world? They stripped all the human resource, all the natural resource, all the wealth. Do you think Haiti saw any of that? Do you think we saw any of that, indigenous Africans, that's where we are. I just told you about cobalt, rubber, and indigo. There's a museum on Broadway, in a burial ground with 15,000 kidnapped forced laborers, slaves buried there. The same slaves that built Wall Street, Broadway. We are on stolen land, but we are also on land that was built by stolen labor, by stolen people. Do you think that's gonna feel right? Now, I'm not saying we can't convert that into something positive. Obviously, I hope that's the case. But in order for us to do that, we gotta stand in truth. Can't stand on fake. You build a house on sand, good luck. You gotta build on solid foundation. That is the truth. All right. Apologies for the length. Coach Life. Ciao.